Alright everyone, this is a review for everyone that missed the circulatory system, at least the portion when we're talking about the entire pathway. So at any time that you want to take notes, hit pause. If you don't understand something, go back, watch it again, and if you have any questions, please raise your hand or write that question down and ask me at a later time. So the first thing is we're covering the circulatory system. Now when we look at the word circulatory, right now, what are you thinking of? When you hear the word circulatory, what does that word remind you of? Anything? Well, what I want you to think of is a circle, something that travels in a pathway. So our circulatory system is the way our blood travels throughout our entire body. Okay. The first thing that you're going to do in your notes, if you don't already have this, if you already have it, you're just watching this for review, that's fine. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to draw a heart, because the first thing where we get all of our power, the center of the circulatory system is the heart. So you're going to draw a heart, and then after that you're going to draw a circle. I prefer that you use colored pencils. If you don't have colored pencils, that's okay, but there's a reason that I have the line starting off in red and then stopping red right here at the capillaries and turning into blue all the way up to the lungs. There's a reason that we're doing that, so that's why I want you to use colored pencils. Alright, what's happening first is the blood, starting at the heart, is traveling through the arteries. Okay? The blood is traveling through the arteries. Now, that's basically, when we've talked about before, your carotid artery that delivers blood to your brain, your radial, your femoral. Alright, all of those are just delivering, the key word is here, oxygenated blood. Okay? So, you need to draw a little O2. O2 is equal to oxygen. For the purpose of this, the blood that goes traveling through the arteries we're going to call oxygenated. The blood that is flowing from your heart through your arteries is full of oxygen, and that's why it's red. Alright? So it's bright red. So if you were to actually cut yourself in an artery, which would be a really bad thing, you would see that your blood is very, very bright red because it contains oxygen. Oxygen is actually bonded with red blood cells. Alright? The oxygen comes in, bonds with the red blood cells, and it continues to travel throughout your body. So this oxygen is being carried all throughout your body. Okay? Everywhere. Everywhere in your body. It doesn't matter where it's at. We have trillions of cells in our body. We've talked about cells before, and I'm going to have another video about cells. So if you forget what a cell is, I'll go over that. But everywhere in your body needs oxygen to survive. If you don't have oxygen, that part of your body dies. It's as simple as that. So everywhere, from your brain to your feet, and everything in between, skin, hair, fingers, organs, all of those contain oxygen. They have to have oxygen going to them. If they don't, they die. Simple as that. So, we deliver oxygen. Now, once it stops, okay, as we're coming along, what's going to happen is, at the very smallest level, we start off in the arteries. The arteries are big at first, and they get smaller and smaller and smaller because it's branching to all the parts of my body. Alright, my arteries around my heart are going to be the biggest, but they're going to start to get smaller when it divides to my arms, and it goes up to my brain, and it goes down to my legs. So it's getting smaller and smaller. The smallest level is the capillary level. At the capillary level, that is where this oxygen leaves the arteries. Okay? It goes into the hair, the skin, the brain, the organs, everywhere in your body, all of this oxygen is being, here's a key word, you need to write this down. Your oxygen is being diffused. Diffused. Your oxygen is being diffused. It is leaving your arteries and going into all of the cells that make up your entire body. Okay? Trillions and trillions of cells. So, your oxygen has been diffused in the capillaries. Now what happens? We lose oxygen. The moment we lose oxygen, what happens? Our blood literally changes colors. It goes from a bright red to a dark blue. Alright? So the moment we lose that oxygen, it goes to a dark blue. We also get a byproduct, so the moment they leave, we actually start to pick up CO2, which is carbon dioxide. Now, we're not going to go too much into that. I just want you guys to know that when we lose that oxygen, we're actually, oxygen diffuses out into your cells, and we get carbon dioxide coming in. So what happens here? Now we have blood going back that contains no oxygen. That is why it's blue. And if you're writing these notes down, you probably want to have that blue because it's going to help you remember. So now, before they are traveling in the arteries, oxygenated blood travels in the arteries. Now, in the veins, we have blood that is deoxygenated. Blood that's traveling in the veins is deoxygenated. Alright? So what do you think it's doing on this path? It's going back. We need more oxygen. So it's gone out to my entire body, and now it has to go back up to my lungs, because that's where I get my oxygen from, to pump it again to my entire body. So, as the blood is traveling back, it actually stops at the heart before it goes to the lungs. And if you remember, the heart is a muscle, okay, a very, very, very strong muscle. And anytime you think about the heart, I want you to think of a muscle, something that's strong and it pumps. Your heart is a pump that pumps blood. So, we have our oxygenated blood traveling through, drops off the oxygen to all of your body. Now the blood's going back. It says, hey, I need to pick up some oxygen. So it's coming back, but at this time it's losing a lot of power. Okay? Up here, the heart was squeezing and was pumping the blood nice and hard. But by the time it goes all the way out to your body and starts to come and work its way back, it's getting harder and harder and harder to move through your veins. Okay? So it stops off the heart, and right here, boom, gets a boost. Alright, that's all we're getting right here. We're getting a little boost. A little boost for your blood to continue flowing. Then your blood flows to the lungs, and take a guess what we pick up there. Oxygen. So we have the blue blood coming in, but the moment we reach our lungs, we actually start to diffuse oxygen in. So if this is my lungs and I just took a big breath of oxygen, it's going to diffuse into my bloodstream. And I'm going to have oxygenated blood again. And then after it goes from the lungs, it goes back to the heart for another boost. And then it goes out through your entire system again. Alright, so that is basically your entire circulatory system. There are things that can be added to or taken away from this pretty easily, but this is a very basic understanding of what's going on. If you have questions, you need to write them down. And I expect you guys to have written down, you need to know what arteries are, you need to know what capillaries are, you need to know what veins are, you need to know what your lungs are, you need to know that your heart is a muscle, you need to know the word diffused or diffusion or diffuse, either way you look at it. You need to know the words oxygenated and deoxygenated. And you also need to know the pathway of blood, starting with the heart. Heart through the arteries, arteries to the capillaries, capillaries to the veins, veins to the heart, heart to the lungs, lungs to the heart. All right, so if you have questions, make sure you write them down.